Hello there, my friend. It is January 5th, and I was just in the book of Exodus the other day listening to one of the stories of Moses again after they came out of the Promised Land. They're starting to fight some battles, or they came out of the Promised Land, they came out of Egypt, which is definitely not the Promised Land. At any rate, in chapter 17, there is a telling here, and I'm going to go ahead, and it's just a brief chapter. I'm not going to read the whole chapter to you, but chapter 17 of Exodus says here, let's see. Cat is trying to destroy my phone, my cord down there. Verse 8, Then Amalek came and fought against Israel at Rephidim. Amalek is, by the way, a very important character. People later on down the road when you get to the story of Esther, especially. Anyway, so Moses said to Joshua, Choose men for us and go out and fight against Amalek. Tomorrow I will station myself on top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand. Joshua did as Moses told him and fought against Amalek, and Moses and Aaron and Hur went up to the top of the hill. It came about when Moses held up his hand that Israel prevailed. And when he let his hand down, Amalek prevailed. So basically, as long as you got your hands up in the air, Lord, as soon as you start lowering them, Israel's going to start losing. That's the bad thing. So anyway, Moses' hands were heavy. As you can imagine, he's an old man anyway, too. But they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Then Aaron and Hur supported his hands on one side, one of them, and on the other. Thus his hands were steady until the sun set. So Joshua overwhelmed Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. And the Lord said to Moses, Write this in a book as a memorial and recite it to Joshua, and I will utterly blot out the memory of Amalek under heaven. Moses built an altar and named it, The Lord is my banner. And he said, The Lord has sworn, the Lord will have war against Amalek from generation to generation. And he does indeed have it from generation to generation. You see it coming back up again when Saul is told by the Lord to destroy all of the Amalekites. And he doesn't. And an ancestor of the Amalekites ends up becoming the major enemy of the Jews during Esther's time. You read about Haman in the book of Esther, and you discover that he tries to wipe out Israel. Well, the point of this story, and I always love this story, because it tells us that Moses didn't do anything on his own. He had to have the support from his friends, from other people, from Aaron and from Hur on both sides of him, to hold up, those hands, to keep it's not as important as if that was some kind of ritualistic thing. God did something different every single time. There was always something different that God would do, because he was showing us that it wasn't about the religious ritualism and all that stuff that the pagans would do. This is about spiritual-led relationship with the Father. So every new thing, this is what I want you to do this time. This is what I want you to do this time. It's not going to look like someone else's way of doing it. This isn't going to look like somebody else. Your ministry, your calling isn't going to look like somebody else's. Your way that God leads you isn't going to look like somebody else's, but you need help from other people. You need to get your house in order. You need to be there with other people. Don't just try to do it alone. Moses couldn't do any of this alone. He needed help. He needed support. Even from the mountain, he's like, Lord, I can't talk. I can't talk. I'm not an eloquent speaker. And he says, well, Aaron is coming. I've already sent Aaron your way to help you. I love that. It's like, even though the Lord seems angry at Moses for, Moses trying to kind of say, I can't do this, Lord, God had already put it in Aaron's heart to find his brother Moses. And he knew that he was going to be the speaker to go before Pharaoh and help Moses. So the whole thing is an amazing picture of what we believe the end times is probably going to look like, with God raising up speakers against the Antichrist and all of that in Revelation. Anyway, that's another story for another time. We're still in Exodus. I'm still listening. It starts slowing down. If you're trying to read the Bible every day, in Genesis, Revelation, you start at the beginning of the year, it's okay if you don't do it every day. Don't become ritualistic about it. It's a relationship with God that you need, a relationship with Jesus, that's it. So spend time in the Word when you can. And when you can't spend time in the Word, spend time in prayer, asking Him to guide you through things. Because I know that's sometimes what I do in the mornings on my way to work, getting into the into teaching, sometimes you have a lot of praying that goes into your drive time to work. It's nice that I have a little bit of a commute because it gives me time to just pray. Lord, guide me through today. Help me to remember that that my ministry is to minister your love to children and to people. And to remember that, because it's hard sometimes. And the enemy will definitely attack you in all areas. And my cat is getting cat fur all over my Bible here. It just wants to rub her little face and everything. That's how cats are. They want to see what everything is going on about here. Anyway, so that's the word for today. Continue pressing forward and in his word at all times. And I will pray that you have a great month and year ahead. God bless.